Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Dane Brugler over at The Athletic has a 2-round mock draft out. Obviously, this is a time where with the draft deadline, the declaration deadline ending on Monday, the 15th, now because the draft pool of players is set, we know which players are in the draft. You're going to start to see more mock drafts. So Dane Brugler put out a 2-round mock draft, and of course the Saints have 2 picks in the first 2 rounds. They're picking 14 overall, and then they have the Broncos' second-round pick, which is 45 overall. Thanks a lot to the Broncos for actually getting good later in the season. And I don't necessarily marry myself to the idea of a mock draft because of who the player is. I more look at, is there a consensus on position? What position might a team be targeting in round 1? Not necessarily the player. And what's been really interesting is as we've looked at a lot of these mock drafts, there doesn't seem to be a real consensus on player or position for the Saints. We talked about a CBS Sports mock draft yesterday that had the Saints taking Brock Bowers at 14 overall. Well, Dane Brugler at 14 has the Saints taking Jared Verse, the defensive end out of Florida State. Now, on its face, I would love that. I would love to get an elite edge rusher on this roster. I mean, you had one in Trey Hendrickson, and you let him walk. I mean, you decided to pay the wrong guy. You drafted Peyton Turner. You drafted Marcus Davenport. This year, you used a second-round pick on an edge, and you've missed. Isaiah Foskey didn't give you much of anything this year as a rookie. You've drafted a bunch of those guys, and you've missed. The one guy that you hit on, Trey Hendrickson, who was awesome, you decided not to pay. Another reason why I look at the Saints organization going, what are you actually doing? Like, not only can you not evaluate college talent, you can't even evaluate your own roster and make sensible decisions. But Jared Verse would be incredible. I just think you have much bigger needs on the offensive side of the ball, namely offensive line, where you could be losing Pete, Hurst, and Ramczyk after this year. And Trevor Penning, while they may not be giving up on him, feels like a total bust right now. So I almost feel like you got to go offensive line at 14. But Dane Brugler does have the Saints going offensive line in round 2 at 45 with Kansas Jayhawks offensive lineman Dominic Pooney, who played both guard and tackle. So that's a swing guy that can play inside out for you, and you're going to need to use a high draft pick on an offensive lineman, and you're probably going to have to spend in free agency on the offensive line this year as well because you're likely losing 3 starters after this year. Well, we're not sure what's going to happen with Ryan Ramczyk. Hopefully he gets healthy this offseason, comes back healthy, and is ready to roll. And then you're just looking to replace the left side of your line with Pete and Hurst. And maybe Trevor Penning, the light switch comes on this year, and maybe he can be a guard for you, and you're looking for a franchise left tackle, and maybe that player's there in the top half of round 1. But the single biggest flashing lights, glaring need for the New Orleans Saints, I think has to be like 1A, 1B, has got to be offensive line. But Jared Verse is there. You think he's an elite edge rusher, and those are so hard to come by. And you see him there at 14, and you pull the trigger, it'd be hard to be upset with that as well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.